College sports are a staple of American culture and are near and dear to many people's hearts, as they provide a source of pride for students, alumni, and fans alike, as well as providing an opportunity for athletes to continue playing the game they love while continuing their education. Division I athletics provide billions of dollars to the institutions in which they represent, and of those institutions, the Power Five conferences make up the largest and most popular of these schools. And the Power Five conferences are the SEC, the Big Ten, the Big 12, the ACC, and the Pac-12. And in January, these schools voted and approved a measure that would give all players cost of attendance scholarships in addition to whatever athletic scholarships they were already receiving. And this drew some heat around the sports community. But I'm here to tell you why I'm in full support of the scholarship that these athletes will now be receiving. I'm a student at one of these institutions, the University of Tennessee, and I see these athletes every day, and I know that the work that they put in is much more than the average student. I play a club sport, which requires me to practice 4 to 5 times a week, travel for games, and I also hold a leadership position in my fraternity, which takes up a significant amount of my time. And this past semester, every single day of the week, I either had practice, games, or meetings related to my fraternity. And this left me with little to no time to get a part-time job. So I can identify with how these student athletes feel, even though I'm not receiving the scholarships they're receiving. The average athletic scholarship will cover room and board, tuition, dining, things of that nature, textbooks. But what they don't provide is spending money. Even though the NCAA does provide stipend checks for the athletes, they do not cover living expenses and things like that if a student would like to live off campus like so many students do after their freshman year of school. And that just doesn't make sense. These players aren't being paid to play. They're still purely amateurs, but they provide more money and more pride and more entertainment than any other students. And they are what give these institutions notoriety, make them popular, and bring in even more students. So, 2 years ago in the NCAA tournament, there was a player from UConn who eventually won the national title named Shabazz Napier. And he was quoted after his national title in an interview saying, "Sometimes there's hungry nights where I'm not able to eat, but I still got to play up to the best of my abilities." And this really caught the nation's attention because here's a player that absolutely took the sports world by storm in March of that year, saying that there were some nights where he had to go to bed hungry because he couldn't get food because he didn't have money because the meal plan wasn't working. And this let us know that there was a problem in the system, a problem that has since been fixed. But these athletes still aren't being paid, and they can't get jobs. So the only thing that makes sense is to pay them the cost of living scholarships, which aren't decided by the school. They're based off the cost of living statistics in the cities that the institutions are in. So it's not like they could be used as recruiting tools or other things that would make some institutions more attractive than others. So athletes don't have time to work, so they need this money to eat, because if they do have money to eat, they might play better, and that, in the end of the day, that makes everyone happy. So they're not being paid, they're not violating their status as amateurs, but what they are doing is getting what they deserve finally. And it only makes sense because before this, they brought in more money than anything else could, and they brought in more notoriety, but they weren't getting compensated for this fairly. In fact, they were being treated worse than a normal student was. So that doesn't make sense to me. Why someone that helps this institution so much, brings in more money than anything else, doesn't get compensated at all and barely has enough to get by. And it's not just like a normal starting college student, because these students are working out, practicing, playing, and going to meetings upwards of 20 to 30 hours a week. So that's why I'm in full support of these players that give everything they have to these institutions and help us live more happy and fun-filled lives. And that's why I believe that this cost of attendance scholarship is something that should be here to stay and is exactly what the college sports world needs today.